Welcome to some Heat talk, and man, was that a devastating loss. The Miami Heat took on the Cleveland Cavaliers at home again in a little two-game home-and-home type of series. In the second game, the Cleveland Cavaliers beat the Miami Heat 130 to 116 at home, giving Miami their first home loss on the season. And that was a devastating loss. And if you told me before this series that we would split these two games at home between the Cleveland Cavaliers, I would be perfectly fine with that. I would accept that. I would be like, okay, that's pretty good, especially without Bam and of course without Tyler Hero. I would take that type of split. But in these circumstances that the Cleveland Cavaliers were facing in game 2 of this little series, with Donovan Mitchell on rest, with Evan Mobley on rest, with Darius Garland out, their three best players. And you're telling me the Miami Heat, who just beat them with their three best players on Monday, in an overtime thriller, carrying all this momentum into the second game, can't get the job done? Yes, I'm more upset about that. If you told me that we would split this series before this series, I would be perfectly fine. But if you told me the circumstances, I would probably be upset, and I am upset about this loss. But I'm not upset about this Heat team. This doesn't change any opinion about this Heat team that I have, because in reality we are missing our captain, our guy, Bam Adebayo, and in reality this whole season we've been missing our all-star and Tyler Hero. And Norman Powell, no matter what, has still been hooping, and this team's still been playing great, and you can tell no matter what, through the losses and obviously through the wins, that this Miami Heat team is different from the one last season. So this loss doesn't change my opinion about the Miami Heat team at all. But this loss does hurt. This loss does hurt. And this team has been playing so well, and I thought we would be able to, get a nice game right here. Capitalize on these circumstances the Cavs are facing, and the circumstances they're giving us. They're presenting us like a win, basically. Like, here, win this game. We don't care. We're on the front end of a back-to-back. We're going. Our mind is on the Raptors tomorrow. But the Miami Heat didn't capitalize on that. They got cooked by some guys that wouldn't be playing if guys like Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, and Darius Garland were playing this game. Naquan Tomlin. Never heard of him in my life. He was plus 20 with 9 points. Craig Porter Jr. absolutely killed us. Plus 21 with 19 points. Tyrese Proctor, 12 points, plus 19. We got killed by a whole bunch of Heat-type bench dudes. And it sucks, because I really thought we would get this win, continue our home winning streak, remain one of the NBA teams that are undefeated at home still to start the season, go into the next game at MSG, and see what happens from there. But this was an obstacle. This was a fork in the road for the Miami Heat to run into a hungry Cavaliers team with some guys that are hungry and are fighting for minutes, with some guys that want to prove that they are good. They can earn playing time in this league. And not only that, we had Jared Allen, who didn't play the second half last game on Monday against the Heat. He came out looking for revenge, dominating the paint, 30 points, 10 rebounds. He was their guy. DeAndre Hunter, he's fearless, 21 points. Lonzo Ball, when did he get a jump shot like that? Hit 4 threes on the Heat. And honestly, the Heat had this game in control. They had this game in control. They were up 9 coming out of the first quarter. And then, unfortunately, both Jaquez and Ware got into foul trouble with 3 fouls in that second quarter. So, from when Ware came out and when Jaquez came out, the lead diminished a little bit. And we were only up by 3 going into half. But we came out of half looking like we made some adjustments, looking like we were ready to play. And fortunately, we did get out to a 14-point lead in the third quarter. And then, unfortunately, all of a sudden, Dean Wade hits 2 threes. A minute later, Tyrese Proctor gets an easy layup. Then, Simone Fontecchio's inbounding the ball, and Craig Porter steals it, gets a layup. That's a 4 points in matter of 10 seconds for the Cavaliers. And the game was flipped on its head. Then we're down by 4 going into the fourth quarter. All of a sudden, it's 101-98 Cavs. And then all of a sudden, DeAndre Hunter gets an and 1. And the Cavs are up by 13, and the game's pretty much on ice. Brutal game for the Miami Heat, getting outscored 37-19 in the fourth quarter. That fourth quarter was brutal, and man, it felt like there was just a straight cap on the rim. I mean, Jaquez tonight wasn't his best game at all. He's been really good this season, but this was not his best game. He had 11 points and 4-15 from the field, 26% field goal percentage, and he's been efficient. He's had one of the league leading field goal percentages, especially around the rim. And the Cavs definitely made some adjustments because he gave them buckets with 22 points on Monday, the last time we faced the Cavs, and they made some adjustments. They had Jared Allen on him. Once he got past that three-point line, there was times they were doubling Jaime Jaquez, which is incredible, which shows the improvement he's made this season. But also, he's going to have to make some adjustments in order for him to continue his hot spell against other teams. As you know, the league's finally catching on to Jaquez's hot streak, and the Cavs definitely did it. But also, he was getting in the fourth quarter some good attempts at the rim. He was getting to his spots, getting right by the rim, trying to get that floater in, trying to draw fouls. Just cap was on the rim, especially in that fourth quarter. Norman Powell couldn't hit a shot in that fourth quarter. No one could. No one could. And look, we started off nice. Norman Powell started off nice like he always does. We were leading, Andrew Wiggins did have a slop of a game. But honestly, the bench was really disappointing also. They were really Jovic, Drew Smith, Jaquez, and Fontecchio all off the bench. Fontecchio was great. I love Fontecchio. He gave us 3 threes. He did his thing out there. But he was at times getting cooked on defense, and he did turn over the ball while inbounding it. But Jovic, man. Jovic had the worst game out of all 9 players that played for the Heat tonight. He had 2 games ago, man. 29 points against the Blazers, doing his thing. Then on Monday, he throws the inbounding lob to Andrew Wiggins to win the game. But tonight, man, it was brutal. It seemed like he couldn't get out of his own head. He couldn't hit a shot. Sometimes he was trying to make an extra pass when he didn't have to, leading to turnovers. He had 4 turnovers, only had 2 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. 1 for 6 from the field, 0 for 3 from 3. Terrible night for Nikola Jovic, especially when he had to pay the whole second quarter because of Kel'el Ware getting into foul trouble and picking up 3 fouls really early in the game. So it was tough. And of course, that also goes to Jared Allen dominating us, man. Because if Jovic has to play the whole second quarter, you know how Jovic is. He doesn't play to his true size, honestly. He's good. I love him. He has potential. But he's 6'10" and doesn't play like he's 6'10". He can't play that big. And Miami doesn't have a backup big. They only have Vlad Golden, who's a 2-way player, and Spo's not going to play him. And with Bam out, Kel'el Ware's their only big. And if he gets into foul trouble, things start going wrong. Rebounds start going the other way. And by halftime, actually, the Miami Heat weren't getting out-rebounded. But by the end of the game, the Miami Heat got out-rebounded like they have now in 6 straight games, which has also been an issue. Bam, where are you? We need you. We need you out there. Okay? Before we go to the Knicks. But I'm going to make a separate video on the Knicks game because of the Jalen Brunson news of him getting injured and the Bam injury updates. I want to make a separate video of that tomorrow, so tune in for that video tomorrow. But right now, we're focusing on the Cavs versus the Heat. And as I said, man, the backup big is an issue because Bam's out, Kel'el Ware's only big, and when he's not on the floor, these bigs like Jared Allen are able to feast. And even when Kel'el Ware was on the floor, honestly, I feel like Jared Allen was kind of contained. It wasn't that bad, but he was able to get buckets on him, and it's kind of annoying. Miami couldn't stay out of foul trouble this game. They had 29 fouls, especially in the fourth quarter. It just felt like you try to mount a comeback, but you can't mount a comeback when the other team is just living in the bonus, and every little foul is 2 free throws, which sucks. When you're trying to come back and you commit these little fouls that are little reaching fouls that could be called, could not be called. The refs could have swallowed the whistle a little bit more, but unfortunately, that's what happened. Drew Smith was fouling 5 fouls. Jaquez 4 fouls. Fontecchio 4 fouls. The whole starting lineup each had 3 fouls. That was the difference. And the Cavs shot 31 free throws and made 26, and the Heat only shot 13 and made 11. That free throw discrepancy was what made Kenny Atkinson rage quit on Monday. So, maybe they got, the refs made it up to him a little bit from that game on Monday from the Heat getting all the calls, according to Kenny Atkinson, apparently. But those were fouls on Monday. But we don't listen to that. But yeah, the free throws were a big issue. But the main issue, you cannot win games when you turn over the ball 21 times. I mean, it was a slop. It was looking like the Bills on Sunday, turning over the ball. Andrew Wiggins over just rumbling, bumbling, and stumbling with the ball. 5 turnovers. Norman Powell had 3 turnovers. Pelle Larsson had 3 turnovers. Jovic, as I said, had 4 turnovers. It was like you can't win the game with 21 turnovers compared to the Cavs' 12. Especially in the fourth quarter, they were able to capitalize on those turnovers and turn it into points. Not the best night at the office for the Miami Heat. The pace wasn't there as much. The energy wasn't there to end the game. And, the Heat have been playing intense, fast basketball, and that takes a toll. They played a crazy overtime game on Monday. They played a back-to-back against the Hornets and the Blazers. Then they had a West Coast road trip before that. So the Miami Heat have been a taxing schedule, have had one of the hardest schedules in the league. According to ESPN, the 5th hardest schedule in the league thus far. But, I looked at those other schedules on those other NBA teams. I think the Heat might have been a little bit harder than the Bulls and the Lakers. I don't know, considering the circumstances also. But, man, this one was a tough loss. But you know what? It's a long NBA season. The season's 82 games. You can't win every game. And sometimes you're going to have losses where you're like, damn, we should have won that game. And this was one of those nights. Especially with the names being played for the Cleveland Cavaliers. None of their all-stars were playing. But you can't win them all. You can't win them all. And we've seen it already with the Heat team. The Heat team is good. The Heat team is different. And now, we're on to the Knicks at MSG on Friday. It's going to be an interesting game because I don't know what happened with Brunson completely. I just know he got injured. We'll get to that tomorrow in a separate video, and we'll talk about Bam's injury. Thank you guys for tuning in to Heat Talk, me talking Heat, because it's been a success. The last 2 videos have been really, really good, doing really good, growing the subscribers and stuff. Thank you guys. Please subscribe if you've made it this far in the video. Other than that, tough loss, 130 to 116. Heat get their first home loss, but we'll bounce back. We're going to be back. We're going to show why we're different and why this team is different. Spo's going to rally the troops. Believe that. Let's go Heat.